Welcome everybody. My name's Scott. I'm joined by Stephen today, and I'd like to welcome our audience from the Spark Systems YouTube channel. It's great to have you on board today. I understand today that we're going to continue looking at strategic modeling, and in particular, we're going to be looking at decision trees and decision analysis. So welcome, Stephen. Hoping you can tell us a little bit about decision trees and how they get modelled in Enterprise Architect.
Thank you, Scott. Always delighted to be here. We are going to talk about this facility in Enterprise Architect, which is one of the strategic models. And you can see on the home page here, we call it the home page, it's the navigation page. We have a number of buttons or boxes, and I can launch those. And I'm going to launch it into the strategic models and have a look. We've got a number of other models that we've been working on. We're going to focus on strategic models now. And today, Scott, as always, we're going to set our perspective into strategic modeling. And I have earlier today been working on dashboards and charts in Enterprise Architect. And now we want to switch our focus to strategic modeling. We have a perspective set here of strategy, and I'll choose all strategy. The tool magically changes and focuses us on strategic modeling. We have a number of items here on the builder page that we can use, including the decision analysis there. And what I want to do is actually do this from first principles. So we are going to look at creating a tree in our strategic modeling area. So we have got this strategic models here as a package in the project browser. We have a number of other models in here. We're going to create a new package, and we're going to call it the decision tree. So with that done, we get a new package in the browser, and I'm going to add a diagram to that, which is going to be the strategic modeling one here and decision tree there. I can just simply use the create diagram button, and we've got our blank canvas that's come up ready for us to start modeling, and also a tree view page or a couple of them that have got elements and connectors in here for us to start modeling. So let's start this, and first thing we're going to drag onto here is a test line. Now this element here is the starting point of our tree, and we'll name that vehicle detected. So what we're sort of exploring here, Scott, is the option of automatically detecting a vehicle being in place, which is something that the development team are interested in, so that the user, it doesn't even have to kind of alert the system that they've parked in a particular space. So let's have a look and see what we might do here. We can look at saying whether this space is available. Now let's put a decision node in here, and we'll put that in there, and we'll give that a name. So the vehicle might have been detected before it entered into the space. So let's not worry too much about the semantics of how all this is working. We want to really focus on the diagram itself. But let's have a look and see. We can put a connector here. We can put a connector between that, evaluate to. So we're going to this node here. And notice it's got the magic of these alignment indicators. So they're going to align the element underneath. Now,
right in the center.
Yeah. Now let's have a look at some of the things that might happen. We've got a number of different options here. We've got outcome activities and outcome objects. So we're going to use outcome activities at the moment, and we're going to drop one of those activities onto the diagram canvas, and we'll name it display full message. So if the space is available, we wanted to do that. Now, in the toolbox, we've got a number of different connectors. We've used the evaluate one already to connect the test to that decision. Now we've got Boolean true and Boolean false. Now these are the only two kind of outcomes that we can have from that decision node. So let's choose this one, that this is space available, and this is going to be, should have made that one, oopsie daisy, I'll just delete that one. And I should have made this the false one here. So that's saying that it's false.
Yep.
And we want to now know what we do in the case that it's not false, it's true that there is space available. So
Yep.
what we can do again is put an outcome activity here. So we drag the outcome activity from there, and let's put this one in, this display welcome message. Yeah, so and
It's
now
only going to do that if it's true that there's space available.
That's right. So here we're starting our tree, and we can start lining these elements up and creating a nice diagram. So that's the sort of the easy part of decision trees. And what I'm going to get you to do, Scott, is to do some magic, and we'll take this diagram a little bit further, and then we'll spend some time talking about it.
Well, thanks, Stephen. We've performed our magic. We've got a completed decision tree here where some decisions are made about if space is available and if the time's accepted. And basically, if the time's accepted, then payment options are displayed on screen. So perhaps you could just tell us a little bit to wrap up what the decision tree gives to us and how it's beneficial.
Sure, Scott, thanks for that. Yeah, this is the beginning of a decision tree. We have not taken this down to a much finer level, but of course that's what an audience can do to look at some of the other options or the other decisions that are made as part of this. But you can see it's a very clear and simple method of describing whether it's a business, operational, technology decision. The decision tree can be used to explore the possibilities and analyze kind of outcomes, either object outcomes or activity outcomes. And it creates a clear narrative to anyone that's looking at the model, and they can follow it through just by following the bouncing ball through the model. And again, all of these elements, they're not just text, they're actually elements inside the project browser, and you can see that. And so we've got some notes on some of these, but we might take that down even further and put some modeled elements in there that describe exactly how that display welcome message is occurring, the type of display that's there, where the message is coming from. Is it coming from a database? Is it can it detect, for example, multiple languages? If a user has selected a map icon or a flag icon on the user interface, it might present the diagram in one of the natural languages: Chinese, Spanish, English, German, etc. So lots of other detail that could go into this model. But this is the basics of this decision tree, and I think it's going to be a very useful diagram for people to use.
Excellent. And vehicle detected could even point to a state machine that represents the vehicle sensor, and it's can be very detailed and point to lots of other things in the model, which is really quite exciting.
Indeed.
Well, Stephen, thanks once again for your time today. Appreciate it. I'd like to encourage all of our audience today, if you would like to subscribe to the Spark Systems YouTube channel so you can see all the latest and greatest videos about Enterprise Architect and other Spark Systems product like Pro Cloud Server and ProLaborate. It's really great to hear from you, so please comment on the videos. Let us know what other things you'd like to see. So Stephen, thanks for your time again today. It's been great learning about strategic modeling and in particular looking at decision trees today. So thank you.
Always a pleasure, Scott.